I'm Deputy County Manager Glenn Kennedy, and I would like to spend some time talking to some of the division directors and department heads with whom I work about the accomplishments that they've had this past year. So let's go ahead and get started right here in procurement. We're at the Columbia County warehouses and the procurement offices. With me today is Ms. Leanne Reese. She is a division director for the Internal Services Division. Leanne, a lot of people probably don't know what that means. Could you tell us a little bit about the Internal Services Division?
Sure. So within my division are 5 departments, and mostly they do serve the internal departments of Columbia County. That's why it's called Internal Services. We have finance, procurement, risk management, fleet services, and public transit.
So a wide variety,
yes.
Wide breadth of areas of expertise. So this has been a busy year for you. A lot of things going on, many accomplishments. I understand that the finance department is now the holder of the Triple Crown Award. Can you explain what that is?
Yes. So there's an organization called the Government Finance Officers Association, and they are in the United States and Canada, and they basically are a standard setting body and really encourage transparency and good financial reporting. This past year we decided to submit a popular annual financial report, and that basically takes information that's from our annual report and just gives a brief summary of the finances that is more user-friendly, user-understandable, not so technical with all the accounting standards that are needed for the ACFR. So we did receive the award for that, and because we got all 3 awards from the GFOA, we are now a Triple Crown winner.
Now that's very uncommon, right?
Yes. My understanding, in fact, I checked for 2023, I could not find another county in the state of Georgia that received the award.
I think it's been like 5 years
right.
since someone
There's
has.
several cities, but
right.
no other county.
Okay,
so we're
great.
very proud of that.
So we're in the warehouse because procurement also falls within your
yes.
division. So tell me about what they accomplished this year.
They also received an award this year from the National Procurement Institute, and it was the Achievement for Excellence in Procurement Award. They have received that award for 2 years in a row, and we hope to receive it ongoing in the future as well. So we're very proud of their accomplishment. Fleet also received an award this year for outstanding fleet services.
Now, Fleet is also responsible for heading up the program that they do at the schools.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because that was a magnificent job
yes.
that they did this year.
So I think this was the 4th year that we've done that, and it's through the CTAE program with the schools. We had over 200 students participate, and it's basically just a competition among all the high schools that have those types of programs within them. We held a competition back in February for that. It was very successful. The businesses within Columbia County absolutely love it. They just love coming out and seeing the kids, and they're hungry for, you know, new talent. So it really gives these kids a chance to showcase their talent in front of area businesses.
So as I look around this warehouse, I think back to about 60 days ago. It was a hub of activity.
Yes.
And that was because we were in the midst of recovering, or beginning the actual initial recovery from Hurricane Helene. That included many of your departments.
Yes.
So tell us about the work that your departments did during Hurricane Helene and immediately thereafter.
So Fleet was instrumental in keeping all of our vehicles going, keeping the generators going. Without the generators, we would have been down, especially like for communication purposes. And it was quite challenging because of the roads being closed, several of them, we couldn't get fuel in. Right. So we had to get creative. We could get through the roads and get fuel out to the vehicles, fuel out to the generators. We had to contact businesses that we don't normally deal with to help us get fuel. And Fleet worked round the clock, 24/7. They slept there, they ate there, they were on call for whatever was needed.
Well, they did, and you speak to the generators that needed the fuel for us to be able to command and control and communicate. but that was also critical for water, which is absolutely
Yes.
essential, which never went down, largely because those generators stayed fueled.
Yes.
But what about some of the other departments?
Procurement was instrumental as well. They handled a lot of the citizen involvement with the donations. They helped with FEMA donations. They also just went to the store and bought supplies for fleet, for example, or anything that was needed at the EOC. They just kept going, whatever we needed. And they had someone in the EOC at all times, 24/7, to just do whatever was needed. Then we had public transit.
Right.
They were available to transport any citizens that needed to get to some of our shelters. So they were on standby the whole week helping with that. And we had risk management that was out assessing the damages to county facilities and county properties so that we could, apply for an insurance claim or with the FEMA claim. So they were all very, very busy.
Right, and then we had the routine tasks that had to continue, the payment of employees.
Yes, payroll
payment
occurred.
of bills. But I just want to say that the work that you and your team did, all the departments that fall under you, was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
The work that they did during the hurricane, after the hurricane, it's unmatched, and I truly appreciate it. The county appreciates it. We're at the construction site for Columbia County Fire Rescue's newest station, Station 2, and with me today is the Department Chief, Chief Jeremy Wallen. Chief, this has been a very busy for you and your entire department, the Fire Services Division as a whole, to include 311. This year has seen a lot of growth and addition of new equipment, but let's just talk call volume a minute. What does the call volume look like this year?
Our call volume looks about 10,000 by the end of the year, which is about 2,000 over last year.
And I assume that was greatly impacted by Hurricane Helene?
About 800 calls that first week. So yeah, that made a big difference there.
Right. You talk to me a little bit about the acquisition of equipment and obviously the construction of this new station.
Sure. Well, through some SPLOST projects and other grant funding, we've been able to purchase, which are on site and in production currently, 4 different fire pumpers and a ladder truck, as well as our largest rescue ever coming in here in the next couple of months. And then obviously the construction of this new station and the work that we and the various county departments did to get our spare location set up. That was a pretty significant project as well, preparing an old building to be a fire station, and it's been very comfortable.
So Chief, this station is much different than the station that was here. So obviously there's been improvements made because the station that we had was pretty old. I think it may have been one of the oldest ones. What's going to be different about this station than the old one?
The old station had been added on to things like that so many times. Just to go from one room to the other, you had to go outside and around and back in. It didn't have a good, comfortable flow for the fact that people live here 24 hours a day. It needs to be as much like a professional home as possible. But also, we have so many advanced technology components that we wanted a facility that truly took advantage of that. So we have all of the protective measures here for carbon monoxide. We have all of our technology-driven mapping, dispatch systems, alerting systems, and all of that are going to be delivered throughout the station, even in the bedrooms. This will house 13 personnel if needed. There's 3 large bays. We'll be able to store even 100-foot aerial platforms here if needed to manage growth and change. So that just the overall footprint, we believe we've combined the professional living so that we can have comfortable employees when they're not working. It is a multi-story and elevator. It's designed around the ability to train inside and out. But then again, the outdoor space, we have a grilling area in the back. Again, you have to have professional living.
Well, I know your team is looking forward to it, and they most certainly deserve it. I know that one of the big accomplishments this year was the acquisition or the movement of, or assuming of duties rather, of the 911 dispatch functions for EMS. rolling that into our dispatch functions. Could you tell me about that?
Yeah, so previous to January of this year, EMS dispatching ambulances was out of Gold Cross's own dispatch center. So it required an extra few steps in the process in order to work through a call between the transfers from 911 over to their dispatch. And then also having multiple dispatch centers can be less than efficient on an incident scene. While that does benefit the citizen, we found that we were typically actually over-responding with equipment between the two different dispatch centers. So when they merged into one, you have one command and control, one decision-making spot. There's only one phone call. You dial 911, you're speaking directly with those dispatchers that are emergency medical dispatch trained, using the latest software and technology, and able to manage the resources so the right amount and the right kind of resources are delivered. So much, much more efficient. We've seen great improvements there.
Let's talk about 311 a minute. We've talked about the call volume that dispatch gets. What's the call volume look like for 311?
311 call volume has been steady. There's not a lot of hold times. However, their online time has increased significantly because there's a lot more electronic use. So use of the various counties' ways to access information. Most non-emergency information does go through 311. So through those various platforms that are adding, we're trying to stay, on the edge of what the citizens need to be able to get answers very quickly, but still to those incredible experts in 311. So it's just been more consistent than overpowering. They've handled it very well.
I want to say personally, I was with you and a few other people in the EOC the night that the hurricane hit, and the performance of you and your team was nothing less than stellar. Those guys and gals proved themselves that night. If they do every day, but that night in particular, that was a challenge they had to rise to, and they did it well. Absolutely,
dangerous conditions. The first time in history we've had to stop responding for a period of time. I couldn't be more proud of the folks that allow me to be their chief.
Right, and when we did have to quit responding, I heard that was painful for you. That was a painful decision to make. There's people calling who need assistance, and the weather just wouldn't permit it because it was so dangerous. But as soon as you could, you guys were back on it, responding to calls, and again, just an outstanding performance. Columbia County endeavors to provide premier recreational facilities to its patrons and citizens. This past year has seen a continuation of immense investment in those programs. Today, we are at Patriots Park at a tennis court that has been newly renovated. So these projects that I'm talking about can either be new projects or they can be renovations. To get an update on the current renovations, John Luton, the Division Director for Community Services, will provide an update. John?
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. We've recently gone through some major renovations of several tennis courts throughout the county. We are here today at Patriots Park, which is a 9-court renovation, which included all new court surfaces, some drainage improvements, new LED lighting, new fencing and windscreens. In addition to Patriots Park, we've also renovated the courts at Riverside Park. We are currently in the process of renovating the tennis courts at Lonnie Morris Park out in Appling. So a major renovation project, an investment in tennis in the community. This is on top of the acquisition last year of the formerly Petersburg Racket Club, now known as the Columbia County Racket Center.
A sport that's grown popularly wild in the past several years is pickleball. What can you tell me about pickleball? What are we doing in terms of either renovating courts to convert them into pickleball courts or the new build of pickleball courts?
Yeah, it is fast. It is the nation's fastest growing sport, pickleball. And up until now, we've only been able to utilize tennis courts to paint pickleball lines. We've done some pickleball courts inside of the gym at Patriots Park. We've done what we could internally to try to feed that desire of pickleball players. Well, now we're going to have our own standalone pickleball complex, and that's going to be at the Columbia County Racket Center. It's currently under construction and should be opened up early in 2025. Probably looking at early spring for an opening out there. 10 pickleball courts, standalone for pickleball.
A question that we're being asked quite often, what's the status of the Greenway?
And so the Greenway is now fully open. We've cleared all trees that were blocking the pathway. There is still some damage that needs to be addressed, mainly with some asphalt that's got damaged or destroyed. Some of the bridges need some work done to them. So those things are still going to be a work in progress. However, the Greenway is fully open and accessible.
Outstanding. A lot of people don't know this, John, but you and your team provided invaluable service during the hurricane. Your folks ran the shelter. They serviced over 1,700 people. You also ran points of distribution, handing out MREs, water, and other goods. I just want to say, and that was from all of your divisions, but I just want to say I'm very proud of you guys, and you did a super job representing the county.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very proud of how the team responded to the hurricane. As you mentioned, the shelter, the points of distribution, even our parks guys getting out, trying to get parks open as quickly as possible, because that is something people wanted right away. So really proud of the response to that. I think it's a testament to the type of people that we have working in the division and in the county, and the pride that they take. And keep in mind, they were dedicated to come and help the community when they still had their own personal stuff to deal with at their home too. So it's just, again, a testament of the type of employees that we have here in Columbia
Absolutely.
County.
One of the mainstays in the Columbia County Recreational Facilities inventory is the Patriots Park Gymnasium. Today I'm joined by Jason English, the athletic coordinator for Columbia County. Jason, this facility also underwent several part of the renovations and has had renovations done to it a number of times. Recently, it had more renovations. Could you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So we actually just installed, just a few days ago, completely new goal fixtures all throughout the gym, as well as new wall padding. That is a small part, a small phase of a lot of improvements that are getting ready to happen here at Patriots Park. We're talking a brand new court, all new bathrooms, all kinds of new fixtures, and just a complete upgrade and a facelift to a facility that has needed it for quite a while.
I know we're always looking to improve it, and I think the important thing for people to remember too, that this also serves as a shelter. Mm-hmm. So keeping bathrooms and the facilities themselves in top working order is important.
Absolutely.
And it was you and your team that ran the facility, the shelter facility. You guys did a tremendous job. You know, one of the things that I'm enormously proud of in your accomplishments and your team's accomplishments is this ever-growing trajectory that we are on for participation in youth sports and youth activities. I think we topped 9,000 last year. That was over about 8,200 last year.
Correct.
That in itself is an accomplishment. But what challenges does that growth present to you, with the understanding that we have a set number of fields? What challenges in terms of practices, coaching, your staff, and other facilities such as parking or the fields themselves? How does that impact you and your team?
Yeah, absolutely. People may or may not know the athletics team is very small. We have a team of 5 coordinators, a supervisor, and myself that organize programs for like you said, just over 9,000 people throughout the year. And that's just leagues and programs. We're not talking camps. We're not talking about after-school activities and adult programs in that as well. This constant growth presents a lot of challenges, some that the public very well may see, including parking and field space allocation for private groups. Our philosophy is we really don't want to turn anybody away. And so it is a constant struggle for us to find opportunities to continue to meet this growth head on.
Right.
And that's something that we want to continue to do. The county's growing, which means our department needs to figure out a way to house everybody that wants to play. And that's our ultimate goal.
Great. Look, I'm enormously proud of you and your team. You guys do an incredible job, and it should amaze everyone of the job that you do with as few people as you have.
Absolutely.
That just speaks highly of the professionalism and excellence that they exhibit. So thank you for your time today.
Yep. Thank you.
Columbia County has such premier recreational facilities and public spaces. Today we're at one. This is the market, and with me today is Janet Wheatley, the manager for programs and events. Janet, can you tell us something about the market? When was it opened, and what have we been using it for?
We opened the market this year in April. Evans Market started years ago, and I think we've been slowly moving in this direction because this is the new home, the new location, the new hub for that Evans Market. It's also a rental facility that you can rent throughout the year as well.
So I know the market is actually it's so big you have to take a lot of the vendors and put them out in the grassy area. But what other type of events take place in the market, or what could someone rent it for?
Weddings, we've done community events. We had an event with dogs, food trucks. We did our events with Experience Club. We play bingo out here. The PAC has used it as well to do like a pre-party for some of their programs as well. So it's got a lot of opportunities and things that you can utilize it for events or rental type events.
So we've probably just seen the beginning of that. But the one thing I do want to remind people of is the fact that the market was also the location for the point of distribution during the hurricane, and that which was actually run by our Performing Arts Center staff as well as some of your staff to help run that. We really appreciate the work that you and your team do in putting on events and programs. Phenomenal work, because you do it not only here, but you do it at Evanstown Center Park and Memorial Park and wherever else we can do it.
Correct.
So real quick, tell us about some of those events.
This year is the first year with the new Market Pavilion, and it's probably a groundbreaking year, I would say. The largest number of vendors that we've ever had, largest number of attendants that we've had, and I think that's a lot to do with this new facility that we opened, because it's given it a community, a home, a location. There's lawn games, there's music. It just makes it a great event. And then of course throughout the year we host tons of holiday events. We host Food Truck Fridays. We host all kinds of events throughout at least 1 or 2 a month. We try to provide tons of activities and events and programs, not just for one age group, but to cover the entire community.
Well, great job by you and your staff. You guys have made this location wildly popular, and it is outstanding the work that you've done. Thank you.
Thank you.
While building new parks is a priority, taking care of our existing parks is also extremely important to us. Today we are at Blanchard Park, one of our oldest, if not the oldest parks that we have. And at that park we've made substantial improvements. We have today, at the playground that we're standing at, one of the most innovative and creative and newest playgrounds to date in Columbia County. With me today I have Dennis Hodges, who is the Deputy Director for Community Services. And Dennis, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about the improvements that you made at the park and the improvements you're going to make. So this is, as I said, one of the most creative and unique playgrounds. Can you tell us a little bit about it and why you chose this?
We wanted something completely unique, so we partnered with Bliss Products out of Atlanta and ID Sculpture out of Colorado, and this was designed specifically for Columbia County. You won't find this playground anywhere else in the country. We wanted to incorporate natural play structure feel to it, so we have rocks, we have trees, we have animals carved into the rocks. This specific playground is broken up into 3 sections. We've got the main structure where we're at right now for five-year-olds and above. We have our large climbing rock, which is up the trail a little ways, and that's for 5-year-olds and above. And then we have the smaller section, which is down the trail for basically 3 to 5-year-olds. The intent behind it not only was natural, but also for you to come out, utilize the trails. That way kids can explore, play, and not just be confined to one small play structure like we have in a lot of our other parks.
So this unique structure goes in well with the terrain, the surrounding terrain. So a lot of trees in this area. We just had a hurricane.
Correct.
Any damage?
So the dog park took some significant damage. We're in the process of trying to get that repaired. Our main large climbing rock that I mentioned a minute ago took a direct hit from a tree. It's still usable, but we do have to get it repaired. We're working with the group out of Colorado is going to come in and spend about 5 days here and repair that structure. We hope to have that done in January, February.
So you also mentioned the dog park. That's a new structure on this side of the park.
It is as well. And we've got two sections. We have a large dog section and a small dog section.
Okay. And then, so what other improvements are forecasted for this park?
So on the other side of the park, the original Blanchard Park, we're in the planning stages now of renovating that. Basically, we're looking at pickleball courts, soccer fields. We need additional multi-purpose fields. So that's the plan over there. We currently, like I said, we're designing that as we speak.
You and your team have done an outstanding job. The personal effort that you put into the parks is admirable and definitely worthy of praise. And I know that our citizens and the kids especially really enjoy this park. And we really thank you for all of your work.
Yeah, thank you. This was probably one of the most exciting projects we've done since I've been here, is this playground, just because the uniqueness of it and then the feedback we've gotten from parents about how unique it is and how much kids love just coming out here and climbing around on everything.
We're at Columbia County's Wildwood Park. With me is Mr. Wes Horton, the Park Operations Manager. Wes, let's talk a little bit about Wildwood Park. It's got over 60 campgrounds, 3 disc golf courses, I believe, 6 boat ramps, and a host of different activities, playgrounds, etc. It also serves as a host location for many fish tournaments. And I think that we actually held an archery competition at some point.
We have.
So it's a very widely used and popular facility. But over this past year, could you tell us a little bit about some of the improvements that were made and what we have in store in the future?
In Wildwood Park, we have gone through extensive renovations throughout the campgrounds. One being here in Area 1. And we have added a playground to this campsite area. It did not have a playground before. It was our largest campsite that did not have access to a playground.
This one in particular?
This one in particular,
okay.
Yes. So we added the playground for these campsites that did not have one, as well as in Area 1, we added new campsite amenities featuring a lantern hanger, picnic tables, fire rings. All of these are brand new to every campsite we have throughout the Wildwood campground. In Area 1, we also finished paving our service roads to every campsite. That used to be gravel. We used to have a lot of washout problems, so that enhanced our campground, not only in Area 1, but in Area 2 and Area 3 with the paving project.
I see. And all of these campsites in particular have power and water, is that correct?
They are. We are not a full hookup with access to sewer, but years ago we did a renovation project with our dump station and added a huge 3-bay dump station.
Right. Any other improvements going to be made at this point?
At this time, we are undergoing renovations in Wildwood Area 3 campground. We're redoing the bathrooms in both of those, men and women's, and that'll complete our restroom renovation in Wildwood.
We all know that about 60 days ago, we got hit with a pretty significant hurricane. And that hurricane obviously did extensive damage out here at Wildwood Park. How bad was the damage? What's been the impacts Does anything remain closed? Just give us a whole rundown on that. If something is closed, when could we anticipate it being operational?
Sure. The impact to the campground was huge. It was devastating. Cutting out closure to every part of the park. We had to cut our way in to the park to just start assessing any damages that we took on. From uprooted trees to busted water lines to smashed electrical panels, all is having to be dealt with at this time. So for now, all campsites remain closed until further notice. We're hoping by spring of 25 that we're back up and running, if not before then.
Right.
The boat ramps are back open, and we're able to host some fishing tournaments and just your everyday recreational boat use. We did have a fishing tournament this past weekend that they were able to take advantage of the boat ramps.
Outstanding. You know, in closing, I just want to add that you and your team were instrumental in the success that we had in reacting to the hurricane and taking care of our citizens. Very proud of the job that you guys did and the job you continue to do in getting the facility back up. But thank you very much for all the work you and your team did. Much appreciated. Columbia County provides premier services and programs to its citizens. Those programs and services would be difficult at best, if not impossible to do, without the technology that lies behind it. Joining me is Michael Blanchard, the Division Director for Technology Services. Michael, a lot of people may not know what Technology Services Division entails or how it's comprised. Could you give us a rundown on that?
Absolutely. Technology Services has got 4 separate departments, and they all handle different aspects of technology. We've got our broadband utility. They're responsible really for the fiber backbone that we have that stretches really across the southeast United States. We also have the Information Technology Department, and as you know, they're more of a traditional IT function. They handle our cybersecurity, our desktop replacements, printer replacements, software. The things that people may think of as mundane technology services, that's what they do. We've also got geographic information systems. That's responsible for computerized mapping. And while that sounds simple, there's a lot more to it. They do different modeling activities. They use drones in order to capture photography. And yes, they do make maps as well, but we're very proud of everything that they do. And then our training department manages our training activities. That things as mundane as Microsoft Office, defensive driving, all the way up to being a key component in our information security awareness program.
Outstanding. So this has been a busy year. A lot of tasks ahead of us, a lot of construction, which I know entails a lot of work by your departments. But talk to us about some of the accomplishments of each of those departments and the great things that they've managed to do this year.
I'll start with GIS. It's all about the mapping. We have to keep track of all the underground fiber, all the other underground utilities that we have, as well as doing drone flights. Right now they're capturing drone flights and video footage of the different construction projects that are underway. The IT department has really had a banner year where infrastructure is concerned. We've replaced our network core this year, which has been a massive undertaking. Most people don't realize all the things that have to take place behind the scenes in order for them to get their email. So these simple things that people take for granted require a lot of heavy lifting on the back end, and IT has been doing a tremendous job with those activities this year. I can't say enough about the training department and the work that's done there. It's an army of one. It's one person, and she does an amazing job. What she's done essentially is managed an effort that enables us to keep all of our personnel up to date on the latest and greatest for cybersecurity awareness. And that essentially means that she does training classes, and we do phishing campaigns. And that's important. It's an integral piece of keeping our data safe to regularly test our employees on their knowledge of cybersecurity to make sure we don't click on a link that could bring down the county network.
So one of the things that I've heard in the moments you've discussed this is an underlying recurrence of redundancy, survivability, making the network, developing the network in terms of services, in terms of transport, in terms of data management and service, making it to the point where it's redundant and it's there when we need it. I don't think any test has been given to the extent that Hurricane Helene gave us a test. Your networks, your transport, our mapping services, all of that was absolutely critical. And we're standing in the EOC, which you were with me the night of the storm. You were with me then, and this was a hustle and bustle place of activity for the ensuing weeks, actually. And none of that would have been possible without the systems that everyone in here relied upon to get the job done. Without the work that you guys did do, all of that would not have been able to happen. Here's the burning question I have. Your radio networks didn't go down. Your transport networks didn't go down. You had internet connectivity when almost everyone in the county did not. Your data systems stayed up. Nothing really went down at all. Why? Why did you have the success when you're doing it with such few people? But what do you attribute the success to?
Okay, I think the success really can be addressed in layers, because broadband was really our foundation for that. And when I say layers, I could even expand that by saying that we had so much success because the fiber is underground. This means that when trees were falling and taking out power lines and taking out some of our other local connectivity providers, we were able to stay up. And that means that our internet access stayed up, because our POP, or our main internet center here in the county, and its connections are all underground. So all that stayed up and running.
Right.
As far as the public safety radio network is concerned, our towers were intact. And again, it's also powered through broadband.
Suffice it to say, it took the people to get the systems in place so that those systems could be used by all the people who were in here, by our EMA director, and by all the directors and folks that we had working in here, to include community partners. But it was an outstanding job. I know I'm very proud of you and your team and all the efforts that they've done to build that redundancy, path diversity, everything that's important for us to stay up and have the systems when we need it the most, because that was not a concern.
We didn't have problems with systems not working, because our IT systems, they're well designed, they were up and running. And GIS really from day one, when they arrived on the scene, they started contributing. So with broadband at that foundational layer, IT working on the broadband network, and having our systems in place at our data center, and then GIS using the tools that they use in order to help us to figure out how do we respond to this emergency. The whole team was operating and functional. I can't be prouder than I am right now.
Outstanding work. Thank you for joining me and allowing me to share with you some of the many accomplishments of our professional team. It's been a hard year, it's been an exciting year, and we look forward to accomplishing even more for you, the citizens of Columbia County, in 2025. Thank you.